Hello, beautiful people. It's Cinderella. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're back again with another video, still on the Blake Lively and the Justin Baldoni situation. We're going to check this video together. This is from Candace Owens, and this is about Ryan Reynolds, what he forced his daughter, 7-year-old daughter, to say, which we're going to check. And Candace Owens, well, I'm dying to hear what Candace Owens have got to say regarding this. So we're going to check it together and all of your thoughts and your contribution at the end of the video. Let's dive right in.
First and foremost, this is the Hollywood scandal that just will not stop giving. I admit fully that I'm obsessed with the Blake Baldoni case. I can't deny my obsession because it's like we're watching an episode of Succession on HBO, except it's based on real life human beings who believe that they can just behave however they want because they're Hollywood stars. And so we have to start with this. This was brought to my attention. Full credit to Steph with the deets. I'm actually kind of mad at her for putting this on my radar, so I'm giving her credit, but also want to say, Steph with the deets, this was a deet that I did not need, okay? This was a deet that I did not need. And so when this came across, I was like, ooh, girl, I wish I did not know this, but she does amazing work, and you should follow her on TikTok if you want these deep dives and all these little tidbits that she's getting on the case. So I did know, because I had obviously very deeply looked into the Deadpool Wolverine movie. I did know that Ryan had cast his 7-year-old daughter, Inez, which is Taylor Swift's goddaughter, in the Deadpool movie. Okay, cute. She's 7. She's ready to be in a film. Maybe this wouldn't be the film of choice for me from a Christian household, but to each their own. And I did know that the daughter, the kid pool, has a potty mouth, which makes sense given the character of Deadpool. You're expecting the kid to have, I guess, a potty mouth, and that's supposed to be funny. I was aware that the kid said some highly inappropriate things, but I had assumed that the kid was in the costume and they likely used either a voice actor or an AI voice tool to say some of those things, because absolutely no person, I don't care how funny you think you are in Hollywood, would want their precious daughter, of all people, to make comments about Hugh Jackman's penis being in their father's mouth. Okay. I just assumed, like, this is not something that you have to investigate any further, because there is no father in his right mind who would want a scene in which his daughter makes a, I guess, homosexual joke about the relationship between him and this Wolverine character, who we're starting to have questions about their relationship in real life. Well, it turns out that I was wrong. I was very wrong on this. And also, he admits in one of these like post Deadpool interviews that not only did he force her to say it, but that she was not comfortable with the line. And essentially, she wasn't going to do it. And then he was like, I'll just find a different actor. And that's what he says. So he kind of basically forced his daughter to do the line, or else he's going to replace her as an actress in this movie. She's 7 years old, you guys. Take a listen to Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy laughing about this after the movie came out.
With you. When I want your opinion, I'll take Wolverine's out of your mouth.
That's kid. Guiltily, that is my daughter, Inez.
I'm so sorry we have to admit that.
And I am Father of the Year over here for allowing her to say such language, which, to her credit, she really didn't want to say. And then came back later and said, I want to say it now, when I started looking at other people to play
Yeah,
it.
but Ryan, to our discredit, we made Nezzy do I'm not you 70 to 500 versions of that line.
Father of the Year never gets old. This is sickening, what you did to your daughter. But again, let's not forget that you say, oh, it's gonna be the content of the movie, traumatizing your kids for their glorious life or glamorous life. Yeah, right there on stage. Sir, Father of the Year goes to who? You know who.
Yeah, I'm going to pay for that later.
Yep, I think right about now is when you're going to pay for it, because that is just unbelievable. He is admitting that she was not, Nezzy, as she is called, was not comfortable doing this line. And Ryan essentially said to her that I'm going to find another actor, which is pointedly ridiculous, by the way. That is literally him just emotionally conditioning her to say, like, if you want it, you're just going to have to do it. Because, as I said, there are AI tools. You could literally take my voice and make me say something. And it's one of the big problems now. It's actually one of these Hollywood concerns, is that now you can literally just use AI tools and create a fake Brad Pitt with the real Brad Pitt voice if you want to. And that's why actors are fighting back against AI as it is.
But you know what's even interesting? Sorry to cut Candace Owens short. But you know what's interesting? Lady Pool was not body ready, but they decided to use a voiceover and a stunt double for Lady Pool. And you thought your daughter not wanting to say it, instead of you putting pressure on your daughter to say it 570 to 500 versions, voiceover, just because an adult 30-something-year-old woman is not body ready. But again, let her use her voice, or let them use her voice. Your 7-year-old daughter, forcing her to say it 70 to 500 versions. Candace, I just want Candace to in fact, Candace should, until Candace realized that the original one, or the one that was in the script that we saw, is even worse than this. Putting her D, the 7-year-old daughter, putting her D into her father's mouth. It gets all the more interesting. And he won the Father of the Year. But we, the public, were supposed to believe that Justin Baldoni is supposed to be who? The Predator. But Reynolds is supposed to be Father of the Year.
And just using an AI tool for his daughter or using a voice actor for her to say that line that she was uncomfortable saying, he basically says, oh, well, I started looking at different actors and actresses. And then that's when she said, okay, no, I do want to do it. Wildly manipulative to do to a 7-year-old kid. But what's really stunning about this is think about what he is saying there and the arguments that Blake is making and that he is making in the CRD complaints against Justin Baldoni. Like, it is just stunning to me what they view as harassment, what they view as, forcing someone to do something, an extra gratuitous that wasn't in the initial script, and what they're perfectly fine with. And this, you add this to the fact that he slapped the child extra gratuitously, that all he believes is riffing. Now you're hearing from the director of a film that they made the 7-year-old Juvis line from 70 to 500 times as a discredit to us. And yeah. And they're turning it into a joke. And they want us to believe that Justin Baldoni is the creep in all of this. This is running parallel to him shouting at Justin Baldoni in a penthouse about his wife being uncomfortable. He's basically looking at his 7-year-old and being like, well, if you're not going to have what it takes to read this line, which happens to be about, Wolverine's penis, then I'll just go find another actor. Total sicko. The exact opposite, in my viewpoint, of a fatherly instinct to protect your child, to protect your child's innocence, motherly instinct to protect your child's innocence. I would never allow this to fly because it's not necessary. Okay, you could have used an AI voice. I just wanted to point that out. Also, in other news, we know their big defender, Ari Emanuel, was the WME guy who proudly, and I think really kind of cinched the deal when it comes to proving that Justin Baldoni suffered real life harm, because this guy decided in his bold CEO demeanor to get up on stage and in the Freakonomics podcast, which they never released, they said they had tech issues, but we were able to get the audio, admitted that he fired Justin Baldoni because he could. And he was made fun of him. Baldoni, Baloney, whatever his name is, I'm loyal. And I'm loyal to Blake Lively and I'm loyal to Ryan Reynolds. And so I just bossed it and fired him for no reason. By the way, never good to have a CEO that's just acting because he can, right?
Exactly. Now, just goes to tell you like how many sick people or how sick Hollywood is. And before we even finish this one with the Ari Emanuel stuff, let's talk about that, because the father was there present, making his 7-year-old daughter say it 70 to 500 times. And when she did not want to say it before the 70 to 500 times, they guilt tricked this innocent child, guilt-tripped this innocent child to saying what she did not want to say. And the first line or what she was supposed to say is a lot more worse than what she said. Now I'm wondering and I'm curious to know what the other versions, the 500 versions, let's say the 498 versions, what they were. I'm very curious to know. Very, very curious, because first of all, the one in the script was her saying putting her D in her father's mouth, and then now putting her uncle's D or father's best friend's D in the father's mouth. That is a daughter. First of all, she doesn't even have a D. Why is she putting her D in her father's mouth? But again, very sick parents. But yeah, they're supposed to be the Father of the Year.
Powerful and I can. Okay, is what you're doing, is it fair? Does it make sense? Is it good for the company? No, it's none of those things. But I'm powerful and I'm Ari Emanuel. My brother's Rahm Emanuel and he bankrupted Chicago and we've been acting like gangsters. And so we're just going to fire Justin Baldoni. Well, he did that. And now it looks like he's being pushed out of Endeavor. Check out this article. He has now ceded his role. Endeavor is WME. They house the UFC, everything, as the CEO after Silver Lake, which is a massive private equity firm, completed a takeover. And this was a $25 billion takeover of Endeavor in a deal that now shifts power to Silver Lake, and they decided that as a part of this deal, Ari Emanuel would have to cede operational control at the talent agency that helped to shape modern Hollywood. They wanted this guy out as a condition of them doing this $25 billion deal. He now will still be chairing, so he will obviously have some capacity of power still, sitting as a chairperson of WME Group, but it's a big thing. It's interesting that they did not want him to be the CEO. Now they are moving a guy named Mark Shapiro into the role of CEO. He's going to see day-to-day operations, and it's, like I said, not a quiet thing. It's something that will have Hollywood buzzing because he was the the most powerful person in Hollywood. Another reason why I believe that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively felt so confident in everything that they were doing, because they had this guy behind him and they knew that he would just fire someone on a whim or on an allegation, and he did do that. Which again, all these people are just flying way too close to the sun. But we have to get into Blake Lively filing to be dismissed from the Justin Baldoni defamation lawsuit. Now, as I said with Ryan's filing, this is to be expected, is not atypical. The first move you're going to make in any lawsuit is to try to get a judge to see your side and go, this isn't even worth the time of the courts. This is all a nonsense. Please dismiss it. So Blake has expectedly filed to be dismissed from the lawsuit against her. Her argument that she is presenting is that the lawsuit in and of itself is illegal, okay, because the matter at hand is pertaining to sexual harassment, which therefore provides her certain protections under the law. And one of those protections, and I want to be clear, she is correct here, is that an employer cannot retaliate. I'm going to explain to you why she is partially correct here. She is partially correct that under a traditional setting, if you are working for a company, like let's say you work for Candace Owens and Candace Owens Incorporated, and you obviously are not going to come to me to file a sexual harassment lawsuit against me. So they have this option for you to be able to go to the civil rights department of your state, which is what she did, the CRD complaint, and you can then file for race discrimination, sexual harassment. And when you do that, the moment that you do that, the law dictates that that company cannot do anything to retaliate against you. So if I find out that you filed this against me, I can't then fire you. It's basically like a freeze. You just can't be fired for that. So she's making that argument, but she's forgetting that there is one key difference here, and it's that she Amber Hearded it. You are not protected to then go outside of the court and to collude with the New York Times to completely destroy the reputation and the character of your boss and your boss's company by giving them text messages and personal emails between PR agents. Like, that is what fundamentally changed the substance of the argument from an employee dispute, which is protected by CRD, protected by civil rights, to a defamation case. Now we are dealing with something entirely different. And I wanted to bring to your attention two main points that she raised in her dismissal filing and that I just thought were very funny. So they are disputing that Justin Baldoni's team can prove actual malice, that they can reach that critical actual malice standard, which is hard to reach when you're dealing with A-listers and public figures. They're saying that they can't prove that because even Baldoni's team acknowledges in their initial filed complaint that Blake actually believed what she was saying. So they point to that here. I'll show you this at the bottom of pages 2 to 3. It says, yet another of the FAC's insurmountable deficiencies is its utter failure to allege actual malice. For example, that Ms. Lively subjectively did not believe the sexual harassment allegations she raised. Other than many pages of empty bluster, the FAC not only fails to allege actual malice, it's citations, page numbers, okay? I think my thing here for some reason got lost. Among other things, the FAC incorporates by reference a damning text message between Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Nathan, in which both agree that Mr. Lively genuinely believes that she's right and that all of this is unjust. So what they're doing here is they're completely conflating two arguments. They don't think that the judge is going to be able to see through this. Yes, I want to be clear. We all, meaning the entire world, actually believe that Blake Lively did not actually believe that people didn't like her. In other words, when there was all this bad press about her, I believe, and I think most of the world believes, that she genuinely believed that this had to be the work of a smear campaign. Okay? Yeah. That's because she is full of herself, she's narcissistic, and I think she's low IQ. All of that is fine. And like I said, therefore, she probably did suspect that there was some sort of a coordinated campaign. But in retaliation of what she supposed was a campaign, she lied about the sexual harassment. That is my viewpoint, and the viewpoint that I think is shared by many. We don't believe that she actually believed for a single second that she was a victim of sexual harassment. No, I don't believe for a single second she thought that Justin Baldoni was creeping on her or was trying to hit on her. I don't believe any of that part. And that's where we are getting into defamation. You intentionally presented him as a predator, a sexual predator, and a creep to the public. And that is what rose to the level of defamation. With not
And they want us to believe that. That is even what is crazy. They want us to believe that. And the fact that the husband too goes about or is about saying, oh, yeah, your boss is this. And yeah, it's not a crime. It's in his constitutional right to say it, that the person is a predator. That his wife's boss is a predator. And it is okay. Yeah, they want us to really believe it. Whether you like it or not, you have to believe it. That is what they want us to believe. Because they can't even believe themselves that nobody really, they are not liked. My question here is, do they even really believe themselves? Like all of this, do they believe it? Because why are you like making it believe? Now you understand, because if they can make their 7-year-old daughter say such lines or say the lines that she really did not want to say, then imagine, why wouldn't they want you to believe what they said? That you must believe that Blake in this case was SH'd, because that is their freaking daughter that they made to say those lines 500 times. Versions. Yes, 7, because the narcissism is so high that they can't even imagine that their daughter don't want to say an inappropriate line. So make her say something worse. But the first one was even a lot more worse than this one. So yeah, they want us to believe that this is true. And they want us to believe whether we like it or not. And maybe they may just make us to believe it 1,000 versions, because they can make their daughter believe say something 500 versions. Then they want us to believe in 1,000 versions. Maybe.
The part about you being dumb enough to just think that you're too wonderful and that people really were going to like you talking about florals, and that any person that didn't like it was obviously being advised by his PR team. So they're just trying to conflate there to get out of this lawsuit, and that's not going to work. But their next argument is even more absurd. I found this to be incredible. It's amazing. We should go over this. They're saying that the reason that the lawsuit should be dropped is because Blake Lively technically didn't lie. Okay, look at page 5 of this lawsuit. This is rich. So they're saying that nothing she said was untrue. It just lacked context, right? They're like, actually, you admit that all the things we said were true. We just didn't give anybody any context. So like, here's one example. At some point in May, they simulated nude scenes that were filmed without an intimacy coordinator present. Okay, we concede that, but they didn't give us the context that she declined to meet with the intimacy coordinator and said she didn't need one. That's very relevant context. Their argument here is that you can't lie by omission. And like, yes, you can lie by omission. They're like, you admit that she came into the trailer, that Justin Baldoni came into the trailer. We didn't lie. He did barge into the trailer. Oh, we just left out the part where she texted him and told him to barge into the trailer. So we're not liars. We just left out the most critical pieces of this. So obviously this lawsuit should be dismissed because we believe in lies by omission. All we did was omit the full context, which Brian Friedman then provided with an entire webpage. But that's no reason not to dismiss us, because we did tell the truth, and you admitted that we were actually telling the truth when we were lying by omission. Like number 3, Mr. Baldoni asked Mr. Heath to show Miss Lively a video of Mr. Heath's wife giving birth at home, part of which Mr. Heath subsequently showed her. Okay, yeah, it was kind of important. You left the part out that it was a video of his wife giving birth and instead said that you thought that he was showing you pornography. I mean, these are kind of big details. I don't think the judge is going to look at this and be like, yeah, lies by omission don't count. Like, lies by omission count so much that it's pretty obvious that you smeared and you libeled him, and you did it intentionally by showing these partial truths. So we'll keep an eye on this. I'm getting the feeling that nobody's being dismissed from this lawsuit. But like I said, it is a valiant effort for them to try to be dismissed from it. But most critically, I want to tell you guys this. I know I'm going to get into like this house and habit stuff, and I got tons of stuff that I want to get to today. I could actually go on for 3 hours, but I won't do that. Don't forget the Stephanie Jones PR lawsuit that is happening. I think it's actually the most important piece of this entire pie, because don't forget it was her, Stephanie Jones, who purportedly gave Blake and Ryan all of that ammo to try to assassinate the character of Justin Baldoni and take down Wayfarer. That was how they got the emails and the text messages. And this is now going, it's kind of heating up in the courtroom. As a refresher, who is Stephanie Jones? Okay, Stephanie Jones was the It PR girl in Hollywood. She runs Stephanie Jones PR. She has run that for about a decade, and she really is your stereotypical early 2000s devil wears Prada type. I just drink coffee and take Adderall and don't eat. I don't need food to survive type woman. You know, the early 2000s, Rachel Zoe, Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie prototype. People, you know, who call the paparazzi when people recognize that they don't eat. They call the paparazzi and they share a slice of cake to dispel the rumors they have an eating disorder. That's kind of like the Stephanie Jones prototype, I would say. So it's known in Hollywood, just like you don't cross Ari Emanuel, you don't cross Steph. Don't cross Steph at all in Hollywood, because Steph will ruin you. She will destroy you. So she has, or I should say she had, we'll get to that in a little bit, an A-list clientele book. Her firm repped everyone from Dwayne Johnson to Tom Brady to Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez. I mean, the tippity top, right? And beneath her, just to bring up that chart, because this is very important, was Jennifer Abel. Jennifer Abel was working at Stephanie Jones Work PR, Jones Work PR, and they had Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer students, as their clients. And they were very happy to have them as a client. Now, to be clear, Stephanie Jones did not work with this account directly because she only handled the big accounts. She's hanging out with Jeff Bezos. She's hanging out with Lauren Sanchez. She would send the smaller accounts down to people like Jennifer Abel. And she sent the Wayfair account down to Jennifer Abel. And when I say smaller accounts, I mean that according to the lawsuits, they were paying $20,000 a month to be repped by Jones Work PR. Like, I need to get into PR work. And this is amazing. $20,000 a month as a small account, but they weren't A-list enough for Stephanie to personally manage them. And so to remind you of just how powerful Steph is, she's doubly powerful because she's also married into power. Her husband, just to show you, this is Jason Hodes. He is a senior partner at WME who reps Tom Brady. So if you angered Steph in any capacity, you could potentially lose any opportunity to work with the biggest artist agency in the world. That's why another reason nobody messed with her. Well, in May of 2024, last year, so in the months leading up to the It Ends With Us premiere, Stephanie Jones actually began going through a PR crisis of her own because Puck News and Business Insider reported that her A-list clients were beginning to walk due to her erratic behavior. She lost Dwayne Johnson. She lost Lauren Sanchez. They both dropped her. Also, there was a website that came together and an anonymous Twitter feed that was clearly put together by a former employee, disgruntled employees, about her treatment of them over the years. Because like I said, she's early 2000s Devil Wears prototype. So she was quite mean and kind of took pride in that. And what was running at the same time was that Jennifer Abel, who was handling the Wayfair account, tendered her resignation on July 10th. And she gave Stephanie 6 weeks. She was scheduled to leave on in early August, on August 23rd. But then 2 days before she was supposed to leave, Stephanie Jones calls her into her office. Okay. She says, okay, Jennifer, I know you're supposed to leave in 2 days. Your 6 weeks is almost up, but surprise, I'm forcing you to hand over your phone. She had security present. She had this is according to the lawsuit, a forensic data extraction technical expert present. She had an attorney, and she had the PR firm's chief of staff who flew in unannounced from New York for the occasion. So you imagine you're leaving a job. People are crazy. Just let people leave a job, you know? But I think Steph's a little paranoid because she's losing her clients. Articles are being written about her, and she just wants to, maybe she thinks Jennifer Abel's behind it all. So she gets all of this stuff, and that is how she then handed it over, I'm guessing, to Leslie Sloan PR, who reps Blake and Ryan. And that is how they received these communications that would eventually be doctored for that New York Times piece. So she's very crucial to this. And it's also being a lot of rumblings is that she's also just recently lost Tom Brady as a client, that it hasn't yet, they're working on like an exit strategy. I don't know if it's true, but there are rumblings that Tom Brady's on his way out too. And a lot of this is going to come out via this lawsuit. But I would watch the Stephanie PR one because she might be the linchpin to how all of this went down. Anyways, she believes they secretly conspired to undermine her reputation. And honestly, at the core of all of these lawsuits is just tremendous Hollywood ego. It's just so much Hollywood ego that is happening. And I feel like 2025 is the year where all of these egotistical maniacs are just being outed for what they are. Like, that world is sort of dying, and it's just glorious to watch. Look, for
Exactly. Ego. But again, you know how messed up the entire situation is? It is pretty and really, really messed up. And they messed up real time. But they just can't even believe or can't imagine that they messed up, and that the people or the public is finally seeing them for who they truly are. But again, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, you guys really did a good one. You outdid yourself. And yeah, Ryan said he was going to pay for it, right? For what he made his daughter say. I guess. Karma is knocking. Please pick up the call. You're not going anywhere. Pick up the call, sir. Just like how they made their daughter say to such lines, 70 to 500 versions. They want us to make believe, want maybe multiple versions, that Blake was truly SH'd. And Justin Baldoni is a predator, while Ryan Reynolds is the father of the year. They want us to make believe. All of this is messed up because of ego. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. What do you think about this? I would really love your contribution in the comments below. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.